evening. I'm Mario Bosque. Suffolk County investigators can stamp a cold case file solved thanks to new tech.
The Cold Case Task Force was established in April of 2024, and the murder of Ann Lustig was one of the first cases that was examined.
Suffolk County DA Ray Tierney says using DNA from the murder scene in 1997, they found a match to the now deceased but convicted sex offender, Stephen Breike.
He had an extensive criminal history.
Lustig was 69 years old and leaving a doctor's appointment in Kings Park when she was sexually assaulted and murdered. Her grandson was emotional.
Ann was a beautiful person and met a horrible end.
The DA says Breike's DNA is also matched to the rape of an 82-year-old woman in 1996. Sophia Hall, 1010 wins on 92.3 FM on Long Island.
Wednesday's time, May 31. Let's get you where you need to go with Kelly Dillon.
Big NJ transit delays tonight, up to 60 minutes, 1 hour system-wide because of slick rail conditions. Also, a huge mess continuing at the airports. Of course, many cancellations and big delays at LaGuardia, JFK, and Newark airports. So continue to check your airline app for the latest info on the roadways. We got a big mess on the northbound Sawmill River Parkway at the Cross County Parkway in Yonkers. That is exit 4. Everything closed indeed toward a bad accident here involving injuries. Traffic at a standstill all the way back now to Van Cortlandt Park. Head to the thruway instead. In the Bronx, a new crash on the northbound Deegan at 234th Street, right lane out. Looks like traffic here backing up now to Fordham Road. And also a big mess in Brooklyn on the outbound Gowanus. Heading into the belt, an accident knocks out 2 lanes. Traffic backing up to Hamilton Ave. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. The Brooklyn bound to Brooklyn Bridge, a very crowded ride still. Luckily, the Whitestone and Throgs Neck Bridge is moving okay. Kelly Dillon, 1010 wins at 92.3 FM.
Let's get a check of the AccuWeather forecast with meteorologist Brian Thompson.
A freeze warning's in effect for the city, nearby Jersey and Hudson Valley suburbs, along with Long Island and coastal Connecticut for tonight, as temperatures pretty much all across the tri-state will drop to near or below freezing, basically ending the growing season across the area. Now we'll see some clearing as the night goes on. AccuWeather real field temperatures dropping to near 20 with a gusty breeze, and it's going to remain blustery tomorrow for Veterans Day with intervals of clouds and sun and a few flurries. High 43 with the real field temps in the 20s to near 30 as winds gust to near 40 miles per hour. Brisk and cold tomorrow night, partly to mostly cloudy, low 37. Not quite as harsh Wednesday and Thursday, but still a chilly breeze with some sunshine. High 50 Wednesday, 53 for a high Thursday. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Brian Thompson on New York's weather station, 1010 winds on 92.3 FM.
Well, the feud between a union and NY Class escalating to $1 million lawsuit. The Transport Workers Union of America says NY Class has, according to them, made malicious misrepresentation of horse-drawn carriage drivers. The administrative VP of TWU Local 100, Alexander Kemp, telling 1010 Wins
that the horses are being worked to death, that they're being mistreated, that their quality of life is being diminished by working in this industry. These are some of the accusations that they've lamented on Twitter, on Instagram, all throughout social media.
Also claiming NY Class is allegedly trying to clear the way for developers who are after stable space, they say. NY Class Director Adita Bernkrat says illegal action is part of a failing business. Move over, Academy Awards. It's time for the 18th annual NYC Bus Awards. Some of them rather dubious.
No gowns or tuxes at this ceremony, just data.
When buses move faster, the entire city moves forward.
Natasha there with the Strap Hangers campaign. Now, this is for very special buses that have topped the charts for being the least reliable. Starting with the Pokey Award. They were the slowest.
The M42.
And the schleppiest, with long waits,
The Q8.
and the Mazel. These buses have gotten faster, the Sim 32 and M79 Plus. Now, Matthew here's a writer.
Buses get stuck in traffic, and that's no way for city to operate.
And John McCarthy with the MTA responding to the ceremony.
It's really not the bus's fault. Things are in the way.
Amanda Alexander, 1010 wins on 92.3 FM in Midtown.
A true sign of the season at Grand Central Terminal as a holiday fair opens at Vanderbilt Hall. 35 small local business, artisan merchants involved. The fair to be open every day, running through December 24th, with the exception of being closed on Thanksgiving. Here at home, grab that spandex knee pads. Coney Island's looking for you to take part in its first ever pro wrestling look-alike contest. Artistic director at Coney Island, USA Adam Rinn, tells 1010 Wins.
In the categories, we have pro wrestling. This can be any pro wrestler. So we're talking, going back to Gorgeous George all the way up to now. Then there's your tag team that people can dress up as. And then there's managers/announcer.
That's this coming Sunday. Good luck if you are so inspired. The station you know, the people you trust.
The Newswatch never stops. This is 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
Good evening, 39 degrees at 8:40. I'm Mario Bosquez. Here's what's happening. AccuWeather with the latest on the freeze warning for our area. Will the shutdown be shut down sometime soon? Indications tonight. Police in Upper Manhattan investigating the stabbing death of a woman in Morningside Heights.
It was surprising. It was confusing about what was happening too because there were so many police.
A chaotic joyride starts with stealing a FedEx truck. That was just the beginning. Groundbreaking remote surgery could change the face of stroke treatment. AccuWeather freeze warning. AccuWeather will be along to tell us all about it. Was USAM 841. Let's get you where you need to go with Kelly Dillon.
We have a huge mess on the northbound Salville River Parkway at the Charles County Parkway in Yonkers, exit 4. It's a bad crash involving injuries. We've got all lanes closed and detoured. Traffic at a complete standstill back to Van Cortlandt Park. Whatever you do, avoid this spot. Head to the New York State Thruway instead. Also, a big mess in the Bronx on the northbound Deegan into the 230s. An accident here knocks out the right lane. Bumper-to-bumper delays back to Fordham Road. In Brooklyn, the outbound Gowanus at a standstill into the belt as a crash clears up here still from the right lanes. Delays go right back to Hamilton Avenue. Here's what we see on Long Island's Big Three. We're okay in Nassau on the LIE tonight. The northern and southern states moving well. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Across the George both ways, upper lower decks moving fine. Not too bad at the Lincoln or Holland. NJ Transit, system-wide delays up to 1 hour tonight because of slick rail conditions. Kelly Dillon, 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM.
A warning, we could be entering a deep freeze. Here's AccuWeather meteorologist Brian Thompson with the latest.
This is a pretty intense push of cold air for this early in November, and especially with the wind blowing, it's really going to feel pretty cold at times tonight and tomorrow before temperatures bounce back a bit into Wednesday and Thursday. But we do have freeze warnings in effect for the city, most nearby suburbs, Long Island and coastal Connecticut for tonight, as temperatures pretty much all across the tri-state will drop to near or below freezing. And with the gusty breeze, AccuWeather real field temperatures will fall toward 20, and not much recovery tomorrow. High of just 43. Real feels will be in the 20s to near 30 as winds gust to near 40 miles per hour.
Amazing.
And there might even be a few snow flurries around.
Keep it here on 1010 Wins for the latest in AccuWeather. More on the ongoing efforts to shut down the shutdown in a moment. But first, in a push to keep full SNAP benefits frozen today, the Trump administration was back knocking on the Supreme Court's door, renewing an appeal to keep the program locked in place.
As the government shutdown continues, New York Attorney General Letitia James says the fight in court to fund SNAP benefits for tens of millions of Americans continues.
We're fighting for their survival.
This comes as an investigation is underway with certain New York grocery stores being accused of denying EBT cards.
And if anyone in New York is unjustly turned away, I'm asking them to report it to my office.
A TRO motion has been filed in response to the federal government's action to deny food benefits. New Jersey Attorney General Matt Plotkin says families are at risk of going hungry.
This administration is still going to the Supreme Court to fight for the right to starve Americans.
Mary Lynn Buckley, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
The High Court so far allowing the administration to keep full payments on hold, expected to decide on the latest request Tuesday. If the justices did not intervene, the full payments would be required to resume again late tomorrow. Sunday night, the Senate voted 40-60 to begin debate on ending the shutdown. Tonight, there is word the Senate is apparently drawing closer to putting an end to the shutdown in the wake of Sunday's test vote. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, who did not vote for the bill, argued that Republicans are now to blame for the health care crisis.
The American people have now awoken to Trump's health care crisis.
Healthcare is once again at the forefront of people's minds. People now see that premiums are about to skyrocket. They're terrified about how they're going to pay for their insurance.
We are watching the Senate. We'll bring you any developments as they happen. In the wake of the test vote this weekend on a bill that would fund the government, the majority of Democrats did not go for it, saying it still does not include provisions to extend the Affordable Care Act tax subsidies. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries.
We'll see what the language looks like, but it doesn't change the core problem here, which is we need to decisively address the Republican health care crisis.
As the shutdown trudges on, no sign of relief in the skies.
Since the start of the budget impasse, air traffic controllers have received 2 paychecks containing $0. Amy Lark and her husband are both in the business.
Having to have those conversations at home with your family, with your kids, explaining that, hey, Christmas might look a little bit different this year. That adds a stress that we've never had to deal with in the past.
She says families like hers are juggling personal struggles while maintaining the safety of the flying public. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
More than 250 flights were canceled at area major airports today. Mayor-elect Mamdani announcing his first hires, first deputy mayor and chief of staff, apparently remaining confident he can deliver on the affordability agenda.
The new first deputy mayor is Dean Foulahan, a Bill de Blasio first deputy mayor, who says he has experience with delivering when he was told it couldn't get done.
We know there are challenges here, and that's what this is all about, but it's a great opportunity.
Square One will be getting on the same page with Governor Hochul after she cast more doubt on Mamdani's free bus idea. He doesn't seem worried.
I am confident that what we will find in Albany is a politics of partnership that we have not seen for quite some time.
And if you're an agency head in the Adams administration and you want to stay on, Mamdani says you will be considered. Mac Rosenberg, 1010 wins on 92.3 FM.
Mayor-elect also announced L. Bisgard Church, who managed his primary campaign to serve as chief of staff. Police in Upper Manhattan are investigating the stabbing death of a woman in Morningside Heights at a building on West 129th early this morning, saying a cleaner made the grim discovery of the woman, 47, with multiple stab wounds. Police say she later died of injuries. No identity released, no arrest, but investigators are said to be questioning the suspect. Here's proof that dogs are man's best friend and man's best savior.
Chief Nassau County Fire Marshal Michael Utero says the home in Long Beach had no working smoke detectors, but the family has a dog that alerted them to the fast-moving fire.
Dogs started to frantically bark, and they were all able to self-evacuate.
The fire spread to the next-door neighbor's house also. He says the elderly couple inside got out without being injured.
Smoke detectors really do save lives. Had the dog not been there and being the alerting mechanism to get them out of the house, could we have had a different ending to this story? It's quite possible.
The fire is not considered suspicious. The homeowners declined to be interviewed. Sophia Hall, 1010 wins, a 92.3 FM in Long Beach, Long Island.
Cause still being investigated. A crash-filled, chaotic joyride, police say, started with the theft of a FedEx truck.
Dominic Bullock's joyride ended in the backseat of a cop car.
That's really crazy.
That reaction from neighbors who saw the aftermath. He shoved the FedEx driver out of their truck, sped off, smashed into a car, then rear-ended a taxi. The chase ending after he plowed into St. Francis Xavier's convent fence. Sora here lives across the street.
It was surprising. It was confusing about what was happening too because there were so many police. The FedEx truck stayed there, but the ambulance and the fire truck and everybody else kind of went away eventually.
Thankfully, no one was injured, but his long list of charges include reckless driving and robbery. Amanda Alexander, 1010 wins on 92.3 FM in Park Slope.
The Supreme Court rejecting a call to overturn a landmark decision legalizing same-sex marriage nationwide 10 years ago.
The justices heard aside an appeal from Kim Davis. She's the former Eastern Kentucky court clerk who refused to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples in the fall of 2015. Davis has been appealing a court order that she pay $360,000 in damages and legal fees.
Jim Crisula reporting. The FDA now removing a safety warning from hormone therapy treatments.
The warnings were placed on the drugs after a clinical trial in 2002 detected women taking them had an increased risk of breast cancer, heart attack, and stroke. But the trial was based on a particular formulation of progesterone that isn't commonly used today.
No subsequent clinical trials ever shown an increase in breast cancer mortality.
FDA Commissioner Marty McCary says the benefits of hormone therapy treatments actually outweigh the risks. risks.
There's tremendous long-term health benefits, not to mention the short-term benefits of alleviating the symptoms of menopause.
Correspondent Stacey Lynn. Former Mayor Rudy Giuliani pardoned by the president. He's also been Trump's personal lawyer. Also pardoned one-time Chief of Staff Mark Meadows and others accused of backing efforts to overturn the 2020 election.
Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology.
Shades of $1 Million Man. Doctors from Scotland, U.S., completing what's thought to be a world-first stroke procedure remotely using a robot. We'll tell you about that, but first... News time 8:51. Let's get you where you need to go. Here's Kelly Dillon.
Many cancellations and big major delays continue at LaGuardia, JFK, and Newark airports. Check your airline app for the latest info. NJ Transit 1-hour delays continue because of slick rail conditions system-wide tonight. On the roads, we have a big closure. The Sawmill River Parkway northbound at the Cross County exit 4 in Yonkers. All lanes are closed and detoured. Bad crash involving injuries. Huge backup going right back to Van Cortlandt Park. Skip that and head to the thruway instead. It's moving much better. The northbound Deacon in the Bronx in the 230s, a crash in the right lane, bumper to bumper back through Fordham Road. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Across the George Washington Bridge, that's a nice ride tonight, luckily, and also no problems to report at the Lincoln or Holland. Kelly Dillon, 1010 wins at 92.3 FM.
Let's get a check of the AccuWeather forecast with meteorologist Brian Thompson.
Freeze warnings are in effect tonight for the city, most nearby Jersey and Hudson Valley suburbs, along with Long Island and coastal Connecticut, places where the growing season has not officially ended yet, but probably will tonight as temperatures are going to drop to near or below freezing across the area, about 33 in Midtown, but again, most places below freezing with some clearing. AccuWeather real field temperatures falling toward 20 with a gusty breeze, and we'll still have a pretty gusty wind tomorrow, gusting to around 40 miles per hour. Intervals of clouds and sun and even a few snow flurries around, high 43. Real field temps in the 20s to near 30. Not quite as harsh by Wednesday and Thursday. Still a chilly breeze, but we'll have some sunshine, high 50 Wednesday, up to 53 on Thursday. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Brian Thompson on New York's weather station. 1010 wins on 92.3 FM.
Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology.
Shades of $1 Million Man, a clip from the $1 Million Man. This is called the first glimpse into the future. Doctors from Scotland and the U.S. have completed what's thought to be a world-first stroke procedure using a robot called a remote thrombectomy, the removal of blood clots after a stroke on a human cadaver that had been donated to medical science. Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve was the first ever Central Time Zone countdown in Chicago. For the first time in more than 50 years history, the festivities to be led by a new host, live performances, and on-the-ground updates and reporting throughout the evening. Uptick in measles in Canada makes a major health status change.
Canada's health agency announced it lost the measles elimination status after 1 full year of sustained transmission of the virus. Since October 2024, Canada has recorded more than 5,100 cases of measles. The U.S. is also on track to possibly lose its elimination status early next year, following an outbreak that began in January 2025, with the epicenter in West Texas. The CDC says there are nearly 1,700 cases reported and 3 deaths, including 2 children. All were among those unvaccinated. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
If one country in a region loses elimination status, the entire region loses it. It will take us at least a year for Canada and the region to regain that status again. Now, Bloomberg Money Watch.
Huge gains today on Wall Street. Stocks rising on hopes that lawmakers in Washington are close to ending the 41-day government shutdown. The Dow today shooting up 382. The tech-heavy NASDAQ up 523. That's a 2.25% gain. And the S&P was up 104, a 1.5% gain. An earnings beat after the close from the cloud computing company CoreWeave, a sign of continued strong demand for AI computing services. And Apple delaying releasing next year's version of the super-thin iPhone Air. That's after disappointing sales of the first model, which came out in September amid complaints about a short battery life. I'm Tom Busby. Bloomberg Money Watch on 1010 wins at 92.3 FM.
1010 wins.
They know what's going on.
It's quick, it's reliable.
They're always on top of breaking news. 1010 wins.
All news, all the time.
On 92.3 FM.
WINS, WINS FM in HD1 New York.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
More people get their news from 1010 Wins and from any other radio station in the nation. John Davis, editor's desk. I'm Mario Bosca.
Excellent. All news, all the time. This is 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM, New York.
Good evening, down to 37 degrees at 9 o'clock. I'm Paul Murnane. Here's what's happening. Temps are tumbling. How cold for the commute tomorrow morning? We're going to check in with AccuWeather. We're inching along to a final Senate vote tonight on the shutdown. The Trump administration under fire for asking the Supreme Court in the meantime to keep Fed food funding frozen.
They want them to fill up their supermarket baskets, get to the checkout counter, have them swipe that card, and have it not work.
A Long Island dog can bark all it wants to. A pooch saves a family from a burning house in Long Beach. Sad details on the death of Kiss legend Ace Frehley tonight from a medical examiner in New Jersey. Got the Eagles and Packers underway in Monday Night Football. The Devils are playing host to the Islanders. Are all tied up at 1 as we speak. Rangers and Predators are playing tonight at the Garden. Heading down to 33 in the city. And AccuWeather details on the chill in just a moment. Wins News Time 9:01 as we get you where you need to go. And here's Kelly Dillon.
We have a huge mess in the Sawmill River Parkway, northbound at the Cross County Parkway in Yonkers. All lanes closed and detoured. Bad crash involving injuries. Traffic at a standstill back to Van Cortlandt Park. Avoid that. Head to the Thruway instead. In the Bronx, there's some good news. On the northbound Deegan at the 230s, a crash has been cleared from the right lane. Delays starting to ease out. Also in Brooklyn, the good news continues onto the outbound Gowanus by the Belt. An accident here also now wrapped up and cleared away. Here's what we see on Long Island's Big Three in Nassau County. We're quiet now on the LIE tonight. No trouble to report in the northern or southern states. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. The Bronx-bound Throgs Neck at a standstill as construction sets up. On the Queens side, closing a lane. The Whitestone Bridge is moving much better. The RSK also quiet tonight. NJ Transit delays up to 1 hour system-wide because of slick rail conditions. Kelly Dillon, 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM.
And we're watching the Senate tonight, the vote on the shutdown, SNAP and the airports, all of that in just a moment. But first, we're going to start with the big changes in our 1010 Wins AccuWeather forecast tonight.
For many places, tonight's going to be the coldest night of the season so far, certainly in and around the city. We do have freeze warnings in effect for the city, most nearby suburbs, as well as Long Island, coastal Connecticut, as temperatures are going to be dropping to near or below freezing across much of the area, which will end the growing season. So we're expecting a low of about 33 in Midtown, but again, many spots into the upper 20s and low 30s. And even tomorrow, still going to be cold. Highs will only be in the low 40s, and with winds gusting to 40 miles per hour, real field temperatures will only be in the 20s to near 30.
More on this from AccuWeather's Brian Thompson coming up in about 10 minutes. 41 days on, there is light at the end of the government shutdown tunnel. And as we speak on the Senate floor, they are voting now on that deal that would end the government shutdown. Also, we're going to start here with the battle over food funding, though. The Trump administration turning to the Supreme Court after an appeals panel said it would not intervene in another court ruling that had ordered the feds to keep SNAP funding flowing during the shutdown. Some states are stepping in to keep the benefit cards working for struggling families.
Attorney generals from all over the country, including New York Attorney General Letitia James, says they will be in court fighting for SNAP benefits for the tens of millions of Americans who rely on it.
SNAP retailers to know the chaos at the federal level does not change your responsibility to your customers. You do not have the right to suddenly stop accepting EBT.
New Jersey Attorney General Matt Platkin says families will go hungry if this isn't resolved.
They want them to fill up their supermarket baskets, get to the checkout counter, have them swipe that card, and have it not work.
Mary Lynn Buckley, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
Yay! President Trump told reporters today we'll be opening our country very quickly as he backed that Senate shutdown deal that they're voting on now. Backed by 8 Senate Democrats, it does not address a key Dem demand.